Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with the 9th video in our Platinum Trophy Guide redo for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. In the last video we had gone through the Oriental Sorcery Lab and obtained the Zangetsudo, the weapon that we are currently using, as you can see right here. As well as that, we also went and finished the fight with Giebel, and actually made it to the point of getting the good ending of the game. We also came back to the Garden of Silence, and we slashed the red moon found in this room here. Now, heading inside, you will be taken to the new area, the Den of Behemoths. Now, this area is quite similar to the actual Garden of Silence in structure, but the layout is a little bit different. Basically, you'll have two paths to go. You have your starting path here, which you can go to the right and get a room. Most of the enemies in this area are going to be much larger than normal, as you will see in just a moment. Now, one shard I would also recommend having equipped is the Bloodstained shard. It will become apparent in just a moment. I will show you, of course. But as you can see right here, you have these giant enemies right here. And then on top of that, you'll also have the giant Mako leaks. For some reason it's not, there it is, there we go. For some reason it just wasn't wanting to work.
Take this.
But as you'll see, you'll have this starting area here. Now, like I've said before, you want to make sure that you have plenty of wave stones to head back in case you get into trouble. Just trying to get all the mapping that I can while I'm here, just to save on time, of course. Now, do note I didn't go all the way through the castle in between this episode and the last episode. I only did a little bit of exploring and clearing just to get some things going. Now, here you'll have a cutscene. All the main important characters will be here. Like I said, I'm going to try and skip all the dialogue and important stuff to avoid spoilers for you guys in case you're interested in the story.
Alfred?
Sadly, you cannot skip this, and Alfred dies.
Johanna.
Zangetsu will leave, Johannes will leave. I'm surprised Johannes is even in this area, considering how dangerous it is. But from here, you'll now be able to head off to the left, and then you'll also be able to head down. Now, depending on things, you might want to wait to head left or head down. Or, I meant to say, head down. Now, heading down, you'll enter into a giant room, very similar to the Garden of Silence, as you will see. But here you'll have your area heading off to the left. This is what I was mainly talking about, and that is because off to the left is the side area. But main thing that we are here for is up here, found in this chest right here, the Millionaire's Key. Now, the reason why we want this key is because it will get us a weapon.
Predictable.
Now, like I said before, the blood on the ground can be used to heal yourself. It's not all that much, of course, but the main one that you want to go for is actually found on this side of the map. So, best course of action is actually to come right here, wail on the dragon, as you'll see. It's just like the Abyss Dragon fight, but much tougher. Whenever you can Bloodsteal. Sadly, of course, the enemies in this area are very tough and do take a lot of damage. But the upside is all of the enemies in this area do offer a lot of XP. Now before we head back, because like I said, the main reason why we're here right now is simply to get the Millionaire's Key. Once we get that, we can head out. Of course, if you want to, you can explore a little bit. But for the sake of things, I'm going to show you guys probably my favorite weapon in the game that I like to use, especially for the end game, as it makes a lot of things really easy and makes a lot of boss fights that are about to come up a little bit easier, depending of course on how you view things. But I'm going to simply head back using a waystone and I'm going to show you guys. Alright, so once you're back here, like I said, in between anything you can go do side quests and things like that, craft things, prepare anything that you want to make. You know, of course.
I'll go with this.
But pretty much any chance you get as well, also make things, as that will make your life a little bit easier, because any item that you craft you can then go and buy in the shop. Now at the same time you can also dismantle these items as well to get all the stuff back that you spent on them, just to make your life a little bit easier. So like what you could do right here is simply just take away the chocolate cake,
I'll go with this.
dismantle it, then what you can do is you can prepare it, that way you actually have it, because all the ones that I currently have, I've only found, you know, stuff like that. But basically, let's see if I can find the item for you guys. Probably have to scroll down a bit because, of course, why not? Because there are certain things that you will need. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is, the Rava Velar. Now, the only thing that you will probably need to farm is the Crimsonite and the Imbrued Fang. The other two items are fairly easy, as they are from the same enemy that you get the Rava Baral. So it's great. The Crimsonite can be farmed from the ninjas in the Oriental Sorcery Lab. I do believe it's the only place you can farm them. And then the Imbrued Fang is where we're about to head to in just a moment. Now, I highly recommend making a save before doing this, as this enemy can be kind of tough. It's very hit or miss. But we're going to go up to the Hall of Termination. And you'll probably notice as you're exploring the area, there are these very unique, specific boss-looking doors that you can find. And there are 4 keys that you will also have to find as well when exploring through the game to open those doors. One of these doors is nothing, it's just a room to unlock, but the main one that we're on to right now is just right here off to our right. As you'll see, they're similar to the boss door, but they're more blue than anything else. As you'll see, we can now go into this room because we have the Millionaire's Key. Now here you have this boss fight here. Now depending on things, this can go a couple of ways. As you'll see, there's a bunch of attacks that he can do. This attack right here isn't too bad, as all it is gives you some money. Whenever he goes up into the air, you want to just wait a moment or try and go under him to see what he does. Anytime he does this, though, you have a chance to get something, of course. Now, do note that they can also drop a shard, but that's not what we want. And luckily, we did get what we want, the Imbrued Fang, which is really nice, and we also got a lot of money. Surprisingly, getting it on our first try is really great. It makes explaining and showing this off really nice, because, you know, I don't have to grind until I get it. So now we can finally head back to Arvenville and craft the weapon. Alright, so once you're back here, you can craft probably one of my favorite weapons. It is definitely a callback to the original Castlevania Symphony of the Night game, and you'll pretty much understand why. So we can now scroll down and make the weapon.
I'll go with this.
Now, when looking at it, you're just like, its stats are pretty bad. Why would you ever want this? It's only 3 times better than the standard version, right? But it hits 3 times a second, or 3 times a swing. So, just to show you guys how crazy that is, I will now take you guys actually back to the den of the behemoths. Of course, I'm going to save again, that way I don't lose the weapon. Now, before heading back to the den of behemoths, I highly recommend just spending your money on items. Just buy whatever you want. Make sure you don't have a lot of money. The main reason is because this next boss is going to heal himself based on how much money you have on you. So what you can do is simply just buy whatever you want to buy. As you can see, all of the items that we have made right here, we can buy again. Or if you want to, you can always just go and buy some crafting materials to have, because you never know when you might need them. Any item that you can buy now will save time of grinding later. I just always like to do it in 5s. But trust me, it will save you some time. Certain things you might want to just wait on as well instead of buying. But just make sure that you don't have a lot of money. Now also make sure that you go and buy the super cheap items in the store. That way you get those out of the way. Just make sure you have at least one of everything in stock. That way you don't have to wonder where the item is. Trust me, it will make a lot of sense in the long run to do that like that. But once you're ready, we can now head back to the Den of Behemoths. As you'll see, the den is off over here, all the way over to the right. Once again, I'm going to just save. Now, from here, basically what you want to do is, since I'm not trying to farm for anything, I'm just trying to go for damage overall. Basically, you'll just want to try and find whatever combination works for you. Like I said, entirely whatever you want to go for in terms of damage, output, stuff like that, you know. I'm gonna go for more of a power and crit build, of course. Just because I like having fast attacks and having the ability to get out of danger if I feel like it. So now I'm going to go all the way back to that giant room that we were in right here. So I'll see you once we are there. Alright, so once you guys make it back, like I said, you're basically, the main path is what we're going to be going for. As you can see, using the off-the-stream attack is fairly consistent. But as you can see right here, so is the Rava Velar, the new weapon that we have made. Now I'll show it off a little bit more over here with the dragon, that way you guys can see how well it does. Damage output is super low, like I said. But see, just like that, it took no time at all to fight the dragon. And then, like I said, whenever you get the chance, you can bloodsteal. As this is probably one of the better spots to go for that trophy, for the Bloodstained trophy specifically, of course. Now from here, we're going to be heading off to the right. Like I said, as you'll see, it's pretty easy now of a walkthrough to go through this area here. There we go, got all of the mapping. The bats are probably going to be a little hard to kill. But don't worry. Now, if you haven't gotten the Kickstopper trophy yet, this is also a good spot to do it right here on the giant cannon. But as you can see, the weapon does make going through the area a whole lot easier. But we are almost to the boss, so don't worry about that. Now up here you'll have a small side area with another dragon, as you'll see right here. The dragon is probably the best form of XP that you can get right now. Like I said, really easy. And look at all that healing that we got. Pretty much almost all the way back to full. While we're here, might as well get full clearing. As you can see right here though, we're at our next save right here. Like always, I highly recommend saving, just because you never know what might happen. Like I said though, this trivializes most of the area as well as the bosses. Now here we're going to move into the first boss of the game, but before we do that, if we actually come down here, we can find some gold, and then if we come over here, we can find the Valkyrie Tiara. Once again, another item that is going to help boost the overall luck that we have. And then from here, basically what I recommend doing is putting on the Aegis plate, coming into here, inverting, and simply just standing right here. This makes this boss fight really easy. As you'll see, you can also use Aqua Stream to make your life a little bit easier. You can see his HP in the middle based on his ribcage being filled with coins. But then, depending on how much money you have, determines how much he heals. So the more money going into this fight you have, the more he will heal himself. As you'll see. Like I said, but once that is done, he will be dealt with fairly easily, like you can see. Pretty easy boss. Upon defeating him, you will also get a trophy. Now, me being me, I like to always just backtrack. Remember to re-equip your shinobi garb. And then from here, I'm just going to, like I always do, go back and refill my HP and MP. Because why not? But from here, we can move on to the next area of the game. From here you can find an HP up. Now depending on things, this room might be a little bit easier for you to go through and do. Like I said, the blood steal is really good. And then you can also fight the Wolfman and defeat him as well to get more XP overall. Now if you come up here, you can find a blue chest that can have a random set of items. But the main thing we're trying to do here is simply come over here, come down, and come over to this way. As you'll see, it kind of does trivialize a lot of things. Probably saying that way too much. But from here you can now head down the well and head into the next area, the glacial tomb. This area is probably the toughest area in the game simply because of the enemies and their damage output in this area is a little ridiculous. This is where you can also find orichalcum and alexandrite. Some very important crafting items that you will need. As well as the ice elemental. Depending on things, you can easily get 3 chests to farm for the alexandrite and orichalcum. Coming down here, you can find, in this room right here, the crystal armor, and a MP up as well. And then from here, you can also find a teleporter. Not a save room, but an actual just teleporter. Like I said before, just going and saving definitely makes it a lot easier on you when going through, because you don't want to lose progress that could be pretty vital to getting through the area. But once you are ready, you can now head out and leave this area. As you'll notice, this room right here actually has boss doors, but there is no boss to this area. That will come later on. But from here, you basically will have the next demon lord to fight. These enemies can be kind of tough and do hurt quite a lot. As you'll see, they go down pretty easy. Now if you come down here, you can actually find another chest. I'm trying to use the eye to see if I can find anything. Now we can just move on and head to the next little area. This room is probably going to be very important in terms of farming or calcum, as these are the only enemies that drop it. The downside, of course, is that they deal a lot of damage and have a very high health pool, but they also drop the most amount of XP out of any enemy in the game. Here you can find the Warhorse key, pretty much a kind of important item. We'll use our health potion. We're trying to save all our main consumable items. If I remember correctly, one of these rooms is the room that you'll have to go through. I do believe it is this one right here. Yes. Okay, so from here, you want to head off to the right. Now, I'm just going to try and skip through this room if I can. Come down here, you can find a blue chest. You can also find cashmere here as well. There we go. Here, find a new demon, the Tracer. They can be kind of difficult to deal with. Here you'll find the boss door, and right here you'll find a secret wall with a MP up. As well as coming down here, you will find a blue chest, and then right here another blue chest. And right here you'll find your next save room. A bit of a ways to go for a save room, especially in such a tough area, but just trust me. So now from here, what you're actually going to do is you're going to want to equip these on Getsudo. Trust me, it'll make sense for the boss fight. Now this one, make sure that you have your best shards equipped, whatever will help you get through the fight, and make sure you have plenty of healing materials that you can use. So like the fried fish, sponge cake, just whatever you can get your hands on. Like I said, if you aren't feeling up for it, you can always wait to do this. But heading into this, we will find the demon that we've been after this whole time, Grimory. Zangetsudo will sacrifice his life. As you'll see, using Zangetsudo makes it really easy to deal consistent damage to her because it's always a critical hit. Downside, of course, is that she does have some pretty strong abilities. Luckily though, her cursing you doesn't really do a lot as long as you don't take a lot of damage. Avoiding the rings here is also key. Now do note when she goes into full moon, she basically will have this ability right here that you will have to use invert on, as well as using it again to avoid the attack. Do note she will probably use it 2 or 3 times during the fight. As you'll see though, as long as you can stay mobile throughout the fight, you should be okay. Whenever you can get your damage in, by all means go for it. Getting a little too close for comfort. Depending on things, you can damage spike through it by just getting hit by her moons or her herself. But like I said, just trying to stay mobile is going to be key here. Going for the jump attack is pretty much what I like to do for this fight. As you can see though, the damage output is not fun, considering all of the damage that she does is easily almost 100. One more time she'll do this probably, and that was a lot of damage. Having these moons here is not fun at all. But we were able to finally get her and defeat her. Like I said, tough, but you'll now get a new shard. This will allow you to dimension shift. I'll show it off now. Basically, wherever you see the point at, you can basically warp to it. Pretty cool. But now we don't need to use these on Getsudo anymore, and we can go back to the Rava Velar. Trust me, using Zangetsudo makes the fight a whole lot easier because all of your attacks are critical attacks, so they do more damage guaranteed. But like I said, the fight is pretty tough, and she does a lot of damage. But that is going to do it for this episode of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I know I probably didn't get much done, but basically what you can do now with this build is what I highly recommend doing is going back and exploring the rest of the main castle and a couple of other things. Hopefully the next video is going to be the last video because I'm going to or second to last video, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully I can wrap this up fairly easily for you guys. That way it all makes sense and helps you guys get that platinum trophy. As always though, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I will see you all in the next video. And as always, I do hope that these guides and videos are as helpful and informative as possible, and that you guys can at least learn a thing or two from these videos to help you guys out. Peace out.